Hello traders! About a year ago I made a video on leverage tokens on FTX and their impact on the futures market and how you can make a lot of money very quickly by taking advantage of their rebalances. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you guys the exact same thing but in a format that is 20,000 times better. And I found very easy to make money using this exact system. It's kind of insane. Now, what I will say is I did delete that FTX rebalance video because I did not want an association with FTX. I just didn't like my channel coming up with that. So that is something that I honestly did do. I chose to delete that video. But now, if you're lucky enough to be one of the early watchers of this video, before this inefficiency goes away, then you can probably take advantage of this right away. So let's dive in. For those that do not know what leverage tokens and ETFs are and why you should be paying attention, these are basically spot tokens or spot ETFs that cannot be liquidated, meaning that no matter what the market does, you can't lose everything. But there is a major con that comes with this. Just because they're triple leveraged and can't be liquidated doesn't mean they're perfect. They have something called a rebalancing system. Now what rebalancing is it's when if the futures market moves a certain direction, a certain threshold is met, then all these exchanges have to actually physically go into their futures market and buy or sell in order to rebalance their own leverage tokens. So in short, what that means is we can predict exactly where all of these exchanges are actually going to buy or sell. And we can do it with perfect accuracy. And the results of this are insane. Just crazy. Now, I found that MEXC has had the most profitable, inefficient leverage token rebalances I've ever seen in my entire life. This is like 20 times the inefficiency that FTX was. So let's go into exactly how we can take advantage of this and how I have personally. Here's what you have to know. For MEX rebalances, there's three kinds of tokens, but we're going to cover two. There's 3L, 3S, which are triple leverage long or short. There's 5L, 5S that are quintupled, cool word, quintuple leverage short or long. These tokens are going to forcefully rebalance at 16 o'clock UTC. But if the futures market moves at that exact threshold at a 15% for 3 or 7% for the 5s, then a forced rebalance occurs. Here's exactly what that looks like. So if you know about Bonk, I could care less about this token. I just want to make money on it. And I'm going to show you guys how I was able to do that. Look on the left-hand side. Do you see where it says 1804, 1811, and 1813? What ended up happening is this token got rebalanced so many times that, I mean, okay, let me cover exactly what this rebalancing means, but this was insane. So Bonk started to trade lower. Because of that, a lot of the 3X or 3L, triple leveraged long tokens on Bonk, lost a lot of money very quickly. Make sense? Because of that, in order to deleverage these leveraged tokens, they have to sell. Meaning that the exchange has to actually go to the futures market for Bonk, MEXC does, and they have to physically short in order to add or reduce leverage to their leveraged tokens. So at these exact times, the exchange, MEXC, went into their futures market and sold Bonk. And here's exactly what had happened. I want you to focus on the 18 o'clock volumes. Do you see just how much volume began to be traded? The reason for that was because of all of these rebalances starting at 1804 and ending at 1813. From 1804 to 1813, as you can see on this chart right here, there was just a ton of selling. And you might say, okay, Bennett, this is super powerful, obviously, but how do I take advantage? I'm going to show you at the very end of the video how you can exactly predict where any token is going to be rebalanced with ease. But until we get there, this is just what we're going to be showing. Different examples of the past. And then at the end of this video, if you watch till the end, you're going to get exactly how to take advantage of this 100% of the time in any way that you want. No catch. So let's go with another example too. So remember, this was a triple leveraged long token that had to rebalance by selling. So MEXC went and sold in the futures market in order to reduce the leverage for these long tokens. What I will say is I know that there's a lot of other exchanges that I've talked about here. I have traded and tested on every single one of these. the craziest and the most profit and the most volatility and violence is MEXC. Couple that with actually really good, very, very, very tight futures market. It's pretty liquid. It's been phenomenal so far for me. So yeah, just wanted to say that. I've never talked to the MEXC team, so I'm not sponsored by them. This is just my own opinion, of course. Okay, now this one's even more violent, but it's on a bigger token, Gala. As you can see here, there was a rebalance at 1908, and this is the 3x short token, which meant Gala was going up, right? And as Gala was going up, the leverage for the 3S token was becoming insane. It was losing a lot of money. In order to reduce your short leverage, what do? You buy back. So MEXC ended up having to buy back at 1908, and you can just see just how much, this is on the 1 second time frame. You can see just how much, I can minimize this. You can see just how much the market was just going wild. The percentage here on the 1 second ticker, this was moving like 5% a second. And the reason it was moving about 5% a second is because of this massive rebalance that had to be done. A lot of people held Gala 3X short. You can see that it had a basket on the far, where's the basket? Yeah, so if you look at the basket before, it had a basket of 688,000 USDT. You can see at the bottom, guys, where it says basket before and basket after. It had 688K, but it had to sell off, it had to buy back a lot of that in order to reduce its leverage. So it was about a 428,000 buy that had to be created, basically. Okay, and there was just a ton of buying. All right, let's go to another. This is a pretty small market, SNFT, but I wanted to show it. I wanted to show it because it had a crazy impact. What you can see here is, look at the difference between the basket before and the basket after. This had to buy back so much because SNFT was just rising so much. Now, when I show you the next chart, it's insane. It looks like a pump and dump scheme. I mean, this is absurd. This again is on the 1 second time frame, and it went up 20% after the rebalance. So what I did is I drew a percentage from the beginning of when the rebalance occurred to the very top of the market. It went up 20% in a few seconds. The reason it went up 20% is because MEXC was forced. They don't have a choice. They had to buy this token in order to rebalance their 3x short leveraged ETF. And that's exactly what happened. It was just simple as that. All right, so I think I have, how many more? Oh yeah, just 2 more. APT 3X, I think you guys know the idea by now. You can see the rebalance was at 1441. This is a short token. So in order to rebalance it on an irregular balance, meaning that when price is rising, the short token's losing a lot of money, you have to buy. APT did this. It's not as crazy or violent as the others, but you can see that there was a significant amount of volume traded at the time of 1441. You can see that in the bottom left. 1441 on the chart right here, you can see a surge in volume. Price just couldn't stop going higher. Yeah, you get the idea. Now let's go to the biggest token of all of these, which is Solana. So Solana, this was another 3S, meaning that a short token that needed to be bought back in order to reduce its leverage. So MEXC, again, was forced to buy, and they wicked the SOL market way higher. So if you look here, the rebalance, oh no, sorry guys. Wait, 2023 at January 8th, 2112. No, I'm not sorry. If you go to the very bottom, you can see right on the far left, Jan 8, where it says 2120, 2112, 46, there was a decently large irregular rebalance. Remember, there's 2 kinds of rebalances, irregular and regular. Regular occurs at 11 o'clock Eastern or 16 o'clock UTC every day. An irregular balance occurs when there's a 15% change in the underlying futures contract, and that causes the leveraged ETF to be forced rebalanced. So at 2112, here's what ended up happening. As you can see on the chart right there, 2112, the price just goes way higher, as you can see there. Okay, now let's go over alpha, and I'm going to show you guys a live example right now on Mana, and that'll be some fun. So the first thing you want to know is with a leverage token, leverage ETF strategy, here's exactly what's going on. We're looking at leverage ETFs, but we are not trading the leverage ETFs. We're trading the underlying futures. And a typical strategy that people like to do is something called targeting. Let me just show you guys that. So targeting is basically when you think that a rebalance is going to occur soon, so you buy or sell in the direction of that rebalance. And the reason why this can work so well is you are actually front-running the entire exchange. I don't know how long this inefficiency is going to last, especially after making a video on this, but you can essentially front-run the exchange by knowing exactly when they're going to rebalance their leverage tokens and leverage ETFs. Okay. The highest market impact is when there is a large difference of the 24-hour volume of the leverage ETF and a 24-hour volume of futures. If we go back to SNFT, this is not a big token. It's quite small, actually. But a lot of people had bought the SNFT 3X short. Because so many people had bought that, you get things like that, where on the 1 second tick chart, it goes up 20% in like 2 minutes. Okay? So that's one thing to look out for. Another thing is it's typically better to do this on altcoins rather than Bitcoin because Bitcoin and Ethereum are very liquid. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about how you can do this and how we can calculate a rebalance. So what you want to do is this exact step-by-step method. You find the time of the last rebalance. To do that, you go to a page that I'm going to link in these Google Slides, and you can look at the rebalance history and see the time of the last rebalance. After finding that time, you then are going to look for what price was the futures contract trading at that time. I'm going to give you guys a live example of this too, right after I explain. Then you want to measure 15% higher and 15% lower than the futures price that would be the rebalance target. And you get 2 estimated rebalance times calculated from the futures contract. Okay? So if that doesn't make sense to you, that's all okay, because I'm going to be showing you guys a live example. So let's go look at Mana. And I'm going to go to the 1 second chart because I am an absolute freak. Okay, so if we look here, there was a rebalance at 1551.09. This rebalance was pretty insane. And if you still don't think that, okay, I'm going to show you guys before I say my next statement. 1551 was here. You can see this is where the rebalance occurred, and we just get a ton of buying, just like that. Let me show you guys how exactly we knew that the rebalance was going to occur here. So to do that, I go to the time of the last rebalance before this one happened. It was 11 a.m. Eastern. What was the price at 11 a.m. Eastern of the MEXC Mana Perpetual Futures? Well, the price of it was 4413. So let's go to 4413 or just get a rough estimate of where that is. It's about here. Now, plus 15% from 4413 would have been around here-ish, right? It would have been right above that price wick right there. That's about a 15%. Okay, so we were actually able to calculate where this rebalance would occur and where we want to buy. So the rebalance was going to have to occur here, and it actually ended up occurring there. It happened at 1551, and the reason there was a little bit of lag, it actually occurred on this, on right here, a little bit right here on this very bullish candle when it was supposed to occur around here. The reason for that is the way that this works is MEXC triggered a rebalance and they had to buy. And once they had to buy, they started buying in batches, and then the price just, went higher. Now you might think, Bennett, this is stupid. You're probably just showing this market and it went higher naturally anyway. Actually, no. I used to think that too, but I'm going to show you guys something pretty crazy. Look at this. This is the price difference between Mana, USDT perp on MEXC, and the price of it on Binance. So this way we can see how much impact did the rebalance actually have on Mana on MEXC. Look at that. Right there. You can see that the MEXC rebalance caused this token to be insanely, how do I say it? A pretty large price difference. Because the rebalance actually occurred at 1551, right here. And when that occurred, look at this price deviation. The price deviated from the actual mana rate on other exchanges by about 1.5%. What that means is this thing traded 1.5% differently than it did on other exchanges. That's just how large of an alpha this rebalance is. So now I want to talk about what these rebalances mean. When you see a 3x short token, any minus means that this thing is buying, okay? So a minus delta means that the 3x token is buying, okay? A plus, or a just nothing here, means that it is selling. What do I mean by that? Well, when you see a big minus, that means that the underlying futures market had to have a very large buy on MEXC in order to rebalance this token, okay? If you see a very large positive, that means this is for 3x short tokens only, guys. When you see a very large positive on 3x short tokens, that basically means that this token had to, that the futures market had to sell in order to add leverage to the token. But if I go to let's say mana 3L, which is the triple leverage long token, the way that this works is we can see here, positive means that it has to buy, and negative means that it has to sell. Okay? Hope that makes sense. So that's what that delta means right here. So this was a pretty large purchase that happened at 11 a.m. on Jan 13. Where was that? 11 a.m. on Jan 13 was about here. Not that big of a change. So with this strategy, what I have found to typically be best is irregular rebalancing has been a lot stronger than regular rebalancing. What that means is when price reaches a certain threshold and MEXC has to buy or has to sell, I found that to be a much better strategy to target that rather than just waiting for 11 a.m. Eastern when you know that a rebalance has to occur. Okay, so let me show you guys this. So this is one way that you can scan for tokens that might be close to rebalancing. You can look at the change in the token, as you can see right there. But typically I like to look at only 3x tokens because these are mostly just Bitcoin Ethereum. So we can see that right, going like a million miles a minute. These are the tokens that had to rebalance. So if we wanted to look at Alice, what I would want to do is I'd say, what's going on with Alice? Let's go look at when this one last rebalanced. So this one actually rebalanced pretty recently, and it did by buying back. So there was this much buying that had to occur at 1625.54. So let's see if TradingView has Alice. They do. So the time that it occurred was 1625. Let's go see how much buying there was. Jeez, look at this. This is just insane. Because this thing rebalanced, it just flew, just flew higher, you know? Let's go look at the 1 second chart to pinpoint the exact time of rebalance. Pretty consistent, but you can see all of these large buys right here that were causing this rebalance and price just rising, as you can see here. Now, to actually take advantage of this, the way that I do that is, again, we want to trade it on the futures market. Because it's not really a good idea to ever trade these MEXC leverage ETFs or leverage tokens. They're completely useless to me. I could honestly care less about them. But what I do care about is the rebalancing and the impact that has on futures. So if we go to Alice, we can actually see that it's pretty liquid. So even in times of a crazy rebalance, there's only a 1 tick difference. I mean, this is very, very liquid. So what we could have done is if we had noticed that the rebalance was about to occur, I could have bought at about here and then, sell at whatever price target I wanted. Final thing I want to show is let's go show how we would have calculated the exact time of this rebalance on MEXC. And then I'm going to end this video. So if we look here at 11 a.m., the price was at about 1.3. So we need to measure 15% higher than 1.3. 15% higher than 1.3 would have been at a price of about 1.5. So at the price of 1.5, a rebalance has to occur. What that means is that as price is getting closer to 1.5, I would love to buy. Because if I buy, I know that this rebalance is just going to fling price higher. So that's basically the strategy. Of course, disclaimer, this strategy is not going to always work. It's not some golden goose, strategy that will always pay off. I do have to say that. However, what I will say, though, is that this is a massive inefficiency across multiple exchanges, and it has been for years. I love it. I've actually found it very easy to make money through a targeting breakout strategy where I see if a futures contract is getting close to that rebalance percent, then buying or selling, to target that rebalance is typically not a bad idea. When Bitcoin goes up, you're probably going to see a lot of forced futures buying because these leveraged token bear tokens are going to fall in value, meaning they have to buy. When Bitcoin goes down and altcoins go down, you're going to have to see probably a lot of selling from all these exchanges. The reason is because they have to rebalance their leveraged bull tokens. Okay? So that's going to do it for the strategy. If you have any questions on what rebalancing is, how it impacts the futures market, then ping me, of course, on my Discord. With that, happy trading, and this inefficiency is insane. So let's see what we can do with it.